Ciao! Today I will be making a frittata vegetariana and I will be using a varieties of vegetables, but you can use any vegetables you like. You do not necessarily have to do what I do, but that'll give you an idea. Also, I will be starting it in a frying pan, but then I'll be finishing it in the oven. And I will be using duck eggs instead of normal chicken eggs. But of course, you can also use chicken eggs as well. I just fancied a change. So let's make a start. I already got 4 duck eggs in a bowl, and if you look, they are considerably bigger than a normal egg. Look, this is a normal egg and this is a duck egg. Also, I'm going to show you something else. This is a tiny little egg. It's also a chicken egg. They come from a small holding next door to where my sister-in-law lives, and apparently when chickens start laying for the first time, the very first few eggs are very, very small. She's given it to me. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing with it, but at the moment I'm keeping it. Also, I have noticed that the shell of the duck eggs is considerably tougher than normal chicken eggs, and they're quite a job to open, but they are also harder on the inside, so safer not to break. Before I forget, I'll add some salt and also some pepper, and I'll move on to the preparation of the herbs. I've got some fresh basil and also some rosemary fresh from my garden. I'm going to be adding to it a little bit of oregano and a little bit of thyme. And I'll chop everything together so that I'll give my frittata a lovely Mediterranean flavour. I've also grated some cheddar cheese and I will be adding it to the eggs as well. This is approximately 60 grams of cheese. Again, you can choose any cheese you like, do not have to be cheddar, but I'm using some extra mature cheddar, and I think it's important because adds flavour, but also the cheese helps bonding the frittata together with the eggs and everything else. And a little splodge of milk, not a lot, just a little. Get hold of a whisk and whisk everything together. I've used 5 duck eggs. If you were to make similar quantities to what I'm making and you're using chicken eggs, you will be good enough with 8 normal eggs. I approximately average 1.5 normal egg per duck egg. But I have to say, look at the lovely rich yellow colour. It's amazing. I'll put this on one side for a little while it marinates, and I'll get on with the other vegetables. I'm starting by slicing half an onion. This is a red onion. I love red onions. In this particular case, I've gone for red because I want some color, and it's going to look absolutely fantastic at the end. But also I'm cutting it in slices, and I'm cutting it very, very thin, as you can see. Next is a sweet pointed pepper. I absolutely love these ones. They are different in flavor. They are sweeter, but I really like because they have got such a vibrant color as well. And I'll cut these also in fairly thin slices in the shape of rings. So I moved on to the stove, and I'm now putting some olive oil on a cast iron skillet. I've actually had this for years and I've not been able to really use it because the hob indoors is induction, and this would not work, but it works here, so it's a great opportunity to use it, especially as it's going to go in the oven. Once the oil gets hot, I'm going to be adding my onions and my peppers. In the meantime, I have sliced 175 grams of chestnut mushrooms and quite thinly if you look, and I'm going to be adding them after a couple of minutes. We're going to be mixing everything together and we're going to let it cook for a good 5 minutes on a medium to high heat. Back on the chopping board, I've got a clove of garlic, and I'm going to be slicing it also very thinly. And I could actually done with using my garlic crusher, but it's indoors and I could not be bothered to go and get it. So I'm gonna do it with my knife. Once the mushrooms have shrunk, I've added the garlic, and 30 seconds after the garlic, I've added a couple of handful of spinach. And do not worry, I know it looks like there's an awful lot of spinach, but the sense of grandeur will soon come to nothing once they get nice and hot. Perfect, 3 to 4 minutes and everything is ready now, and the spinach have shrunk considerably, as you can see. They are now fitting in the pan, just like everything else. And I will be removing them from the hob. So the next step is to mix the two together. You could do this one or two ways. You could just as it is get your eggs and add them to the mix and spread them evenly, but I don't like doing that. I prefer to do it the other way around. So I place my eggs on my worktop and I add all of my vegetables to the eggs, and I mix everything with a spoon or with a whisk, whatever, to get a consistency which is the same throughout. And I go back to the same pan, don't need to wash it because obviously it's nicely coated with oil, and I add everything in. And like magic, it's just the right size. If you like a good presentation, ensure that you move your vegetables so that they're evenly distributed, so that you can see some red and some green and so on. While the spinach was cooking, I have halved a few cherry tomatoes, which I'm now putting into my mix facing upwards. And the last touch before I put it in the oven is a sprinkle of parsley. This is parsley which I keep in the freezer and is frozen. Is really handy. And I'm pretty much ready now to pop it in the oven. I'll move indoors as I do not have a strong enough oven here, and the oven will be preheated at 220 degrees centigrade, and it will go in the oven for 15 minutes or maybe less, but I will check it. And afterwards I will be adding a few more raw tomatoes and a few olives as well, which I'll be slicing, but I'll show you that in a little while. So it's in about 25 minutes. Voila. Brilliant.
I'm hungry.
I did actually have it in the oven for a further 5 minutes, 20 in total, mostly because one side was not as brown as the other, so by turning it around everything is nice and golden of the same color. So 15 to 20 minutes, you keep an eye on it depending on the type of oven you have. I'm now going to leave it for another 10 to 15 minutes to rest, and that will allow the egg to shrink slightly, and then it should be easier to take it out. Otherwise I'll make a mess. We don't want that. In the meantime, I'll make a salad. See you soon. It's been resting now for 15 minutes, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of additional garnishing. First of all, I've actually brushed the top with a little olive oil to give it the nice shine effect, and I will be adding just a few more raw tomatoes. Also loosely a few pieces of onion. And I mentioned olives before. I've got a few black olives which I have sliced, and I'm going to be randomly putting them in as well. And a final touch of olive oil. And I promise this is it. After this, a little bit of parsley as well on top. So although I've rested for a good 15 minutes, I need to now go around with a spatula. I'm using a metal spatula to ensure that the sides are nice and loose. You can also use a knife to do this. The benefit of using the spatula, of course, is that you can bend it, and it's a little bit more flexible. And here we go. Oh, look at that, Julie. It looks wonderful. Oh, she looks wonderful, Mrs. Frittata. Okay, look at that. As it has been sitting there for a while, clearly it's gone quite warm now, so it's safe for me to hold it with my hands. Well, what can I say? Hot, warm or cold, you can eat this cold. It's deliciosa. Absolutely. Ciao, ciao. Thank you for watching. Enjoy if you make it. See you later. Bye.